So, I want to talk about Fight Club, but not in the way people usually talk about. Most people watch that film and come out thinking it's about masculinity or capitalism or whatever. And yeah, it's about those things, but there is one thing the film is saying that I feel like nobody is actually picking on, and it's this: every system that tries to destroy another system just becomes that system every single time. And that's it, that's the whole thing. Now, let me explain. So, you know the story, right? The narrator, Edward Norton's character, is completely trapped. He's buying furniture he doesn't need, going to a job he hates, feeling completely hollow inside. Classic modern lifestyle, very relatable to a large number of people. So Tyler Durden shows up, and Tyler is basically the opposite of all that. He is free, he is chaotic, he doesn't care about any of the stuff society told you to care about. And he starts Fight Club, which is this like raw, underground, no rules thing. But here what happens: Fight Club gets ruled, it gets a hierarchy, it gets leader Tyler, whose word is basically God. It gets an ideology: you either accept completely or you are out. It gets a name: Project Mayhem. And bro, that's just a company, that's just a different version of the exact thing they were rebelling against. Different clothes, same shape. And look, I know what you are thinking, that's just a movie, but this is literally just history on repeat. The French Revolution, the overthrew monarchy that was crushing the poor, concentrating all powers at the top. Great revolutionary. 10 years later, Napoleon, one man with more personal power than most of the kings before him. The revolution didn't end the structure, it just changed who was standing at the top of it. Same thing with the revolution in Russia. The whole point was to destroy class hierarchy. Workers control everything, power to the people. And within a generation, there is a ruling class again. It just called itself the party instead of the aristocracy. The Gulag replaced the Tsar's prison, different name, same function. No, I'm not making a political point here. I genuinely don't care which side is right or wrong. What I'm pointing at is the shape, the structure. It always survives, no matter who wins. There's a line in the film I keep thinking about. The narrator says, everything is a copy of a copy of a copy. He's talking about himself, about feeling low, but apply that to how power works and it becomes something else entirely. Every system we live in today is just a modified version of something that came before it, which was itself again was a modified version of something before that. And each copy loses something from the original, adds something the original never intended. By the time you are actually living inside it, you are so far downstream from the original idea that the idea and the reality barely resemble each other. And yet, everyone defends the current version like it finally got it right, like the Fight Club members, like this is the one that worked. So, why does this keep happening? Why can't a movement that genuinely wants to break the cycle actually breaks the cycle? I think the answer is quite uncomfortable. The problem was never the people at the top. The problem is the shape that power takes. When you try to organize it, and the shape is weirdly consistent, I mean, across centuries, across culture, and across ideologies, it remains the same. You need enough people to challenge the existing system, so you build coordination, and for that, you need structure. And again, for that, you need leaders, and for those leaders, they need some ideology, and this ideology needs protection. And how we create that? Through enemies. We create an enemy. It doesn't matter what values you started with. The movement you are organizing enough people to challenge the power are already building the same structure, just with your name on it. The rebels who win the revolution becomes the establishment, and then a new generation looks at them and says, "Hey guys, you did the same. You fought against a system and then become the same system." And which is true, and that generation again builds the same thing again. And now here is why I want to push back on myself a little. Because, see, I'm not saying nothing ever changes. Things do change. Conditions get better, rights get extended, certain cruelties gets named, and sentence actually gets abolished. But the shape of the power, I mean, that's the stubborn part. The part that keeps coming back every time. And I think the honest takeaway from all of this isn't, oh, everything is just pointless, nothing means, everything is same then. I mean, of course, that's a lazy conclusion from me, but the real takeaway is just humility. If you're inside a system, you need to make sure you don't forget the ideology you actually care about. You need to take action when you yourself do something wrong. And that's what Fight Club is about. The moment Fight Club stops questioning itself, it becomes Project Mayhem. And it's same for every other revolution, every other structure, every fight against a certain structural society. The most haunting thing about the film isn't the twist. It's the narrator standing at the end watching all the buildings fall, thinking this is the beginning, a new world which is free from every credit system that was there. And you are watching it knowing this isn't just the beginning. This is just the next iteration. Someone is already going to build in those ruins. Someone is going to make rules about how it's done. And the generation later, someone else is going to look at that and say, "This isn't what we were promised." And they will be right. And the cycle runs again. Everything is a copy of a copy of a copy.